Hello.
Good afternoon.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Yes, happy Wednesday.
All right, we got some good stuff for y'all today. I'm Melinda Talbert, your real estate tax queen.
Hi, I'm Nat, Client Care Director here at RETAG.
Hi, I'm Josie Harris Walton, your tax attorney.
I'm Erica Hayward, your Senior Tax Advisor.
Cassie, I think you're muted, boo.
I'm like, did it not work? I hit it. Sorry. Button stuck. I'm Cassie McGowan. I'm also your Senior Tax Advisor. How you guys doing today?
Awesome. We're the Real Estate Tax Advisory Group. For those of you that aren't familiar with who we are and what we do, we help. It's simple. We help real estate professionals get out of their tax trouble. So if you know anybody that has any tax issues and they're a real estate professional, give them our contact information. We do help other people. We do have other taxpayers that are in tax trouble, but one thing you'll learn about business is you got to have a niche and you have to talk to one market. So real estate professionals, that's our niche, but we will help others. I get that question all the time. I got my pretty purple on today. You probably can't see my ribbon. This is a purple domestic violence ribbon. People that know me personally know that I lost my first cousin in 2012 to domestic violence. Her youngest son's father shot and killed her, and he turned around and killed himself. So today I want to honor this show. I want to dedicate this show to her. I love her so much and I miss her dearly. Domestic violence is hard, and my advice to anybody that's going through that situation, that's in a domestic violence relationship, first and foremost, love doesn't hurt. You don't have to be hit on physically to go through domestic violence either, because it starts with an emotional state. The way that person talks to you, if that person is controlling, it is the signs are there. And us as women, we're so vulnerable sometimes that we ignore those signs. So anytime you meet somebody that's really controlling, that's not love. That's not, oh, he loved me. He don't want me to do this and he don't want me to do that. It's going to go from him not wanting you to do things to him taking you away from your family to him not wanting you to leave the house. So anytime you see those signs, please, y'all gotta walk away, because the longer you stay in it, the harder it's going to be to walk away. Me and my cousin was so close. Like, we used to tell each other everything. She was like a sister to me. Me and her, we were raised in the same house by our grandmother. She still stayed with her mom too, but grandma's house was the house to be. So she stayed there more than she stayed home. So she was like my little sister. And before she passed away, the weekend right before she passed away, we all had got a party bus for my oldest son's 13th birthday, and we traveled to Atlanta. So that was my last time seeing her. I'm glad that we were able to celebrate my son, and we were all able to get together and take a lot of pictures, because that day I have so many memories of that day. I was even mad at her that day, fussing at her like I always did, because I just knew how valued she was to the world, and I knew her potential. So I stayed on her a lot. I fussed at her because that was all out of love. But I miss you, cousin, and I love you so much. All right, so let's get to business. Today we're gonna talk about bookkeeping for real estate professionals, but first we got this really hilarious case. It's a tax case. Nat, you wanna tell them about, giving them a high level overview of the case?
Yes, I will. So this case kicked off in Missouri. I won't state his name, but a 37-year-old male who actually posted an ad on Craigslist. And I've got to read the ad verbatim. Wanted kids to claim on income taxes, $750, Springfield, Missouri. If you have some kids you aren't claiming, I will pay you $750 each to claim them on my income tax. If interested, reply to this ad. Wow.
Somebody really responded.
Somebody really responded. And I'll call it unique. The unique part of this case is the person that responded, this gentleman, 37-year-old, used this same 3 dependents for himself, then turned around and used them for his girlfriend. Then some kind of way a grandmother got into the mix. So he was able to file the grandmother on his girlfriend's tax return. Long story short, he ended up having to pay restitution. He pleaded guilty, but the dollar amount was like $21,000. Mm-hmm. You did all of that for $21,000, right?
Was that between is that a combined amount for him and his girlfriend, or that's what he racked up on?
That was the total actual tax loss for the case was $21,000.
Josie, do you know if that what was that?
So that's correct. So that's the restitution. So that's what they use when they decide to sentence him. So that's why he didn't get. I was wondering. I was like, why didn't he get enough? Sentencing a lot, but no, because it was only $23,000.
Got it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. So,
but who advertises their dirt before they do it, though? Who does that? Like, where?
Well, what happened to the lady that responded to the ad? Did she get in trouble too for selling her kids?
I don't think so.
That's the thing, because I didn't read anything that that had her in it. But I mean, it wasn't even that. It was like he used the kids. Let's see, he used them. He did an electronic return and filed the kids using. Let's see, he said he had 2 sons, 1 daughter. Then the same day, he sent a mail return saying he had 1 son and 2 daughters. Then on the girlfriends, he said she had 1 nephew and 2 nieces.
With
the same kids. And then the grandma's in there somewhere on the
so he added the grandma to his girlfriend's return too. Was that the same year that he added the kids to the return? It's just so much going through my head with that.
Yeah.
So the short answer to your question is no. So the last false return he filed was 2015 for his girlfriend with the same 3 kids as the nieces and the nephews, but they added in grandma.
The crazy thing is, I didn't see an indictment for the girlfriend. They said he enticed her to file those fraudulent returns. I guess because he's the one who went to Craigslist, he's the one who got the information. He just put it on her return. So I didn't see. I guess the government felt like they couldn't pin anything really on her. And furthermore, it was a small amount. I mean, you have to be in the millions of dollars if you're a taxpayer. If you're a tax preparer, that's a different story. Right. But if you're a taxpayer, you have to be in the millions of dollars before they even come after you for tax fraud.
So I wonder since it was a very small amount, I wonder what triggered the audit. Like, how did he get?
Probably the advertisement.
Like in the limelight. Like
I know.
Department of Justice look into this case?
I think E was
What
trying to
happened
say.
was when you e-file the return, when you e-file the return and then you mail it in with the same kids, they're gonna go back and they're gonna look at who claimed the kids and why. Who's supposed to claim the child.
Right.
So what's supposed to happen is the person who e-filed it, they got their money already. The person who mails it in, e-files it, and they're supposed to show proof of that child is theirs. But if they didn't, they're supposed to look at tiebreaker like stuff as far as who the child lived with, right more. They're supposed to look at all that kind of stuff. But I'm not quite sure what happened, being that these children belong to me, the taxpayers. So that's probably what started it.
And then another thing probably happened.
We see that all the time, though. Like, I get a lot of people that come in because baby mama filed the kids. Baby mama told baby daddy he can file it, but she got mad at him. So now she went on and filed them too. But I've never had a client that had a case for filing the same.
Yeah. But I think that's what I was gonna say. I think that might have happened.
Yeah, my question is,
because there's a relationship there.
Get that far.
You do know that IRS
no relationship.
I'm sorry, E. I think E was talking. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm saying that in most cases, like what you're talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that once they because I don't know, people don't know that IRS do go on Facebook, they go on Instagram, they go on Craigslist, they go, and maybe some IRS agent actually decided they were going to do that, and when they did that, they sent it up to the criminal investigation with that information because they actually knew what he did, and they actually said the Craigslist ad. So maybe they went into a little more detail about how they did the audit. Most people, they don't do that, but they do check your Facebook, they do check Instagram, it's just social media.
We warn them all the time, especially the PPP crew. We've been telling them, y'all posting all these vacations and this and that. And IRS just sitting back watching y'all saying, "Oh, I got her."
Yeah.
What were you about? You were saying something. What were you saying?
I'm just saying that in most cases, there's a relationship already there with the kids. So like if baby mama claimed the child and baby daddy was supposed to claim the child, when these returns get mailed off, they can see there's a relationship because you can see birth certificates. They can see that. But in this case, I just figured because there's no relationship whatsoever with kids and what's going on. That was my thought process.
And then also she may have reported it because that last return, like the first two returns that he did, I guess the mom approved those. She was like, yeah, you can use my kids for that. But she did not, that last year that he filed with the kids, she didn't approve that year. So she probably filed her taxes, claiming her kids, and then he claimed her kids, thus bringing the investigation. So that's another scenario coupled with, just they didn't have any relationship. So.
Well, I'm kind of like in regards to E's theory, another twist to this case is the lady that responded to the advertisement indicated she did not authorize McLean to use the dependent information. Like, if you didn't authorize, why did you respond to the advertisement? It makes no sense. You knew something.
And she gave him the social security numbers and birthdays. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, right. I've seen it all the time that taxpayers, when the IRS come and knock on their door and say they're doing an investigation on a tax preparer, they throw you guys under the bus.
They will. That's why I don't fool y'all, because I'm serious. They will throw you under the bus. They gonna for them, and they gonna throw you under the bus. And I don't like when I get people coming in for help from another tax preparer, because they always throw that other preparer under the bus, but they don't ever tell their side of the story. They're
part of it, right?
Yeah. They always say, well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yeah. And the IRS, they're not accepting that as an explanation anymore. Now they're telling you, well, you signed the return, you're responsible whether you knew or not. You signed it, and you're signing in perjury. So you see that a lot. I know you represent a lot of tax preparers.
Yeah. all the time, and I see it all the time. Schedule C's are the main ones. Oh, I didn't tell them I didn't have a business. I'm a W-2 employee. I don't have a business. Well, where the numbers come from? Where the name of the business come from? If you didn't have I didn't tell them that. And so, it's really hard to get them to say, they're not going to talk to the IRS when they don't even have to. But they do anyway. They sing like birds when the IRS comes to their door.
Yeah.
They will. And they're going to say, they didn't know. I don't know how to do no taxes. That's why I pay them to do it. But y'all be knowing. And y'all need to stop throwing people on the bus. That's why nobody want to help y'all. They get at me. If you ain't got it, and if I don't see it, it don't exist. I don't care. Go somewhere else. If somebody else somewhere else will put whatever the hell you tell them to put on your tax return, that's what you should be for. Because I can't help you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what's that trigger that they say? They'll be like, I'm looking for a tax preparer that know how to, they'll say something triggering like, get me the extra, something like that. You already like, no.
Work your magic. They say work your magic.
Yeah, work your magic.
Work your magic.
Yeah.
There ain't no magic. Numbers are there.
I'm gonna work these numbers. How about that?
Exactly.
The average person is somebody that makes I'll say $50,000 to $70,000 a year, and they're single, and they wasn't having their payroll taxes withheld correctly, and they be going exempt. Either you get that a lot, y'all get that a lot.
Yes.
Exempt for the whole year. They don't let them take any taxes out, and then when it's time for them to file taxes, I ain't getting that back.
Or they'll do it part of the year, and then they'll go and
I even had one
for the rest of the year, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yeah,
I even had one situation where it's crazy. One situation where the guy called and said that it was his employer fault because they didn't tell him he didn't have to file. He couldn't file exempt. Really?
Y'all telling too much because Melinda, we're gonna have to talk about that at some point of a segment, right? In terms of
you're right.
I can talk all day.
I think that's going to be a really good segment for us to talk about, especially people, let's say in the local area, your Blue Crosses and your AFLACs, you're going exempt and non-exempt in regards to those bonuses and rewards. We've got some information to share with you on that.
Okay.
They don't do it.
Well, we'll move on to our topic. Our Retax bookkeeper, Toki. She is going to join us. Let me bring her in. Hi, Toki.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
What you got for us today? What you got for our real estate professionals? So the main thing they need to know is why it's so important for and I'll just use realtors for an example. Why is it so important for them to have appropriate books and records?
Well, it's important for any business, as we know, to have appropriate books and records, and mainly for financial peace of mind, right? So that's the main reason for most, but also for preparedness. Do you guys remember when COVID first hit? Right? Everyone was scrambling. No one knew, how much money they had, how long they would be able to survive. Everyone wanted a PPP, but no one had their books in order. Well, see, these are the reasons why, right? Mm-hmm. That's the reason. Also for tax time. Right? You want to be able to have all the stuff together. So that's another form of preparedness, and where we as business owners need to have our books in order. And of course, also in times when we need loans or credit extensions and things like that, we need our books in order, because the first thing the banks are going to ask you for are your financials. Do you have a profit and loss? What about your balance sheet? Well, you're not going to be able just to send them over a bank statement, because they're not trying to hear that. You have to have your books in order. And also, one of the biggest things is because audits do happen. I don't care how big or small you are. And they're looking toward, and I see you shaking your head, right? Because they're looking now toward aiming this more at the small business owner. We never get a break. So it's important that we have our books in order.
Nice. We'll go through a few questions that we received. The first one, I really like the first one. It says, what do I do myself if I can't afford a bookkeeper?
Well, the one thing that you can do is you can establish like an Excel sheet, right? You can set up a spreadsheet if you can't afford a bookkeeper, and you can track your income and your expenses there. But with doing that, you have to make sure that you have good notes. You have to, be able to place a description in there and to remind you of what this expense or this income is for, in the future. Or you could try your hand at do-it-yourself accounting system. You could do that too. But keep in mind that either of these things are going to become time-consuming in the future. None of us want to stay as small as we are. Well, let me speak for myself. I don't want to stay as small as I am. So, an Excel spreadsheet is not going to help me and, to get to where I need to get to, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to become time consuming. And an Excel spreadsheet is not going to give you insightful reporting that you're going to get when a professional does the work for you.
Yeah. A lot of people that I come across, because I don't do bookkeeping, that's what we got Toki for. But when I ask the reason why they don't have books and records, if they don't know how to do it themselves, why won't you just hire somebody? They think it costs so much, and it really doesn't.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, I'll say this too. First of all, what is going to drive you to increase your business? Right? What is one thing that's going to drive you to increase your business? Your bills.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that's going to cause you to get more hungry, to go out and and get more leads and these things. Because listen, truth be told, is if I have $5,000 in expenses and I'm making 20,000 a year, I'm not going to be that hungry, right? So, but if I know I gotta pay my accountant, pay my taxes, pay my bookkeeper, pay my mortgage, pay my child care, whatever it is, get my bags and pay my car, I have to do all of this, I'm gonna strive harder. So you can't tell me that you can't afford a bookkeeper. I don't want to hear that's like a black person telling me they can't afford life insurance. That doesn't make sense.
Much needed.
Right,
Yep.
you need it. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'll say this: if any of us are making in revenue, gross revenue, 70,000 or more, you should have a bookkeeper. It sounds like you're not making a lot of money, but I say 70,000 because that's where you first begin to see the threshold where you're going to have a different need in your business, right? So $70,000, I could do all the work myself. What happens when you hit 150? What happens when you hit 250? So if you start if you start at 70,000, and meaning you're starting small, you're going to be ready, and again, you're going to be prepared for when your business grows.
Yeah.
And again, I'm only talking to and about people who want their business to grow. Now, if you are comfortable where you are, don't get a bookkeeper. That's that's on you. Use the Excel spreadsheet and have at it at tax time. That's all for you. But anybody who wants to grow their business and have that mindset where, listen, this is not where I want to stay. This is not where I'm gonna stay. So I need to get my ducks in a row before time. $70,000 in revenue is where you should begin. It won't take much at that time, right? No one is gonna ask you to pay $5,000 a month for a bookkeeper.
Okay.
They may not even ask you to pay $300 at $70,000 a year. But you get this in place, You begin to know how this works, because of course with everything new there's that trial period, that onboarding process, right? You have all of this and you're like, girl, you asking me so many questions. Of course I am, because I need to be your voice when it comes time for me to act as the liaison between you and your accountant, while you are doing what you need to do to bring in the money for your business and your family and your lifestyle. I don't want to take that away from you. I'm not one of those. I'm here to be able to support you, to help you thrive. I'm here to say, listen, Josie, for real, I don't know why, at this point you only received X, Y, and Z. Well, honey, we need to look at this, right? We got to take a look at this. Or before I even ask you, because we're in the process of relationship building, you're going to text me and be like, girl, I ain't gonna be able to send that to you this week because I gotta have at it. And I'm gonna say, I got you, doesn't make a difference. But you know that you have somebody in your corner and you're paying for that at the beginning. Because what happens if all of a sudden we get this $3 million deal, your commission check is $200,000? What the heck are you gonna do then? First of all, your bookkeeper's going to already know that you already spent $75,000 of that money before you even got it. I just want to help you with that, right? You already spent that money. We can't act like we're not, living paycheck to paycheck while we're securing the bag. Most of us are. Most of us are. But it's not until we begin to take a clear and in-depth look at our finances that we realize I'm spending way too much before I get it. I need to get more deals, and I need to get bigger deals. How about that? How about the fact that, what, I can no longer sell $200,000 houses. I really need to increase this to maybe selling $500,000 houses. Right. So
I like that. I love when you said, what happens when you sell that $3 million home, when you get that $3 million deal, because that's real. Like,
it's
what
real.
happens? You don't know, because that's not your lane. But if you have a bookkeeper, your bookkeeper can guide you through. She can tell you what you need to be doing and what you don't need to be doing. If you don't have somebody in your ear, like an accountability partner, because that's what she's going to be for you, your accountability partner, saying, "No, boo, you spent way too much this month. Let's slow down on these expenses." Or, okay, the tax year is about to close out. Go ahead and buy your expenses so we can write those off next year. You need that kind of person in your ear and on your team, because you don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, this is getting good. Let's go to some more questions.
Absolutely. So,
Matt, you got a question?
I do have a question, but before I ask, I just have to say, Toki, you set my soul on fire when I hear you speak. I can truly tell you're passionate about what it is that you do, and you're just truthful, and people need to hear that. Like Melinda said, she's always talking about finances. Actually, we all are. You've got to have that accountability partner and begin to get your business in order so you don't miss out on opportunities. You can walk straight through the door when it presents itself.
Girl, listen. Let's talk about opportunities knocking, okay? Because in this day and age, you never know who's going to show up in your network. And you need your books in order so you will know if you can afford it, or if you can't afford to take the opportunity, or if you'll need a partner in order to take this opportunity. Those things are so important. You don't want to be scrambling around and somebody is handing something to you and you have no idea whether you could do it or not. And let's talk about the worst case scenario. You like, yeah, I could do this, I could do that. And then you do it and then you starving for 3 months. Because I've seen that happen too. But if you have your books in order, you could just say, Toki, listen, all right, this is what came up. Because you could tell them right away. Give me a second. Let me go to my car real quick and call my bookkeeper. Mm-hmm. And you could go right to your car and you could call and say, look, this is what's going down. Somebody wants me to partner in on this deal. Do I have $20,000 to put up front with this person. And I could be able to tell you, go right in the books and tell you, you got it, but you got to pull 10,000 from here. You have 5,000 in here. You understand what I'm saying? And this is how you'll be able to make that opportunity come to fruition for you.
So that's a good segue for us to go off into my question. What is a bookkeeper, and why do I need one? Because I heard you reference bookkeeper and accounting. So if you can tie that all in together with the bookkeeping and accounting.
Sure. So a bookkeeper, they are the person that does the work that builds your tax return. That's first and foremost. Okay. You have to understand that an accountant can't exist without a bookkeeper. That's why they do what they do, and I do what I do. I take you all the way to the bridge, and they'll cross you over into tax season. That's how that works. I give them the information that they're able to use to prepare your taxes, give you a financial analysis. You can do some tax planning, and they can set you on that course. For me, I'm here with your day to day, with your monthly. I'm like hands on. So whatever you got going on, Toki needs to be involved, and not involved in the point where, I'm like hovering over your shoulder. Nobody needs to be micromanaged, but to the point where my text messages go off all day long with people. I'm at the car dealership. I'm spending this, or I'm at Louis Vuitton. I'm buying myself a bag. They just keep me in the loop, and I'm like, okay. So if you see the $3,600 charge, girl, that's not fraud. That's me. And I'm like, okay, how whatever works for you. And that usually, again, it happens like Melinda said around the end of the year, where we're trying to spend some money, and that's always a good thing to have, to have enough money to spend. But we find ways to write that off as a briefcase, or something like that. And of course, you tax guy, tax girl, she can help you with that more better. But a bookkeeper is actually a stress-free, cost-efficient way to keep you up to date with your money matters, right? It helps you with your cash flow. It helps you stay in compliance with tax-deductible expenses, because everybody thinks they can write everything off. And sometimes, like I just said, we can find ways around this stuff. But, there are also times when people are like, oh, well, my dog is in the office, so, I'm going to write his food off or his pet bills off. Well, no, we're not doing that.
Wait a minute.
Girl. Yeah. Well, listen, if they're a security dog, then we have ways that we could get around it, but not something that you're carrying in your pocketbook. You understand?
Gotcha.
So we're not doing all that. So that's that. I also, I teach you how to pay yourself first, right? Because that's important. So what happens when we get that $200,000 commission check, that $60,000 commission, even that $6,800 commission check? First thing we doing is paying bills. What happened to paying ourselves first? Well, you can't pay yourself first until you have your finances in order. So it takes time to get there. So I'm the one that will help you to learn how to pay yourself first. And also, I help you from stop spending money that you don't have.
Yeah.
And all of us need that. We all need some reining in on that. Most of us, like we said prior, like we received these commission checks for money that we already spent. We always talk about how we're secure in the bag, but in reality, we're living from paycheck to paycheck, and that's no fun. That's basically you're living a lie. You're not secure in the bag. Come on, dear. You're struggling and you're waiting. What if you have your finances in order? I promise you, this will begin to help alleviate that. I didn't start from where I am. Believe me, someone had to tell me the same kind of thing. But now I have such financial freedom, and I'm not a millionaire. But I have the type of financial freedom that I don't worry about it when I get a bill in the mail. Yeah. Doesn't even bother me. Is it an inconvenience? Sure. But is it an emergency? Absolutely not. And that's where everybody is supposed to be. That's where I hope all of us will get to. So it's just important, again, that we have a bookkeeper. What the bookkeeper is for. This is what the bookkeeper is for. Helping you get to this place of financial freedom. How about those of us that And my mother says this all the time. You borrow from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
What happens when you go to Peter and Peter's broke?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you had your books in order, you would know that Peter was broke before you even thought about what you needed to pay Paul. So you would then have to recognize that I got to do something different. I have to probably decrease my expenses, right? Or I have to increase my income. It's only two options. There's only two options. And we need to be hungry enough to go with B. You need to increase your income. Never mind decreasing your expenses. I get tired of that. I need to live while I'm living.
That's
All
right.
right.
I
Okay.
want to be able to buy what I want to buy.
At any
There you
time.
go.
At any time. Now, granted, I will say this to each and every one of my clients. Every year, we are going to look at how to reduce your expenses by 10% so that you can gain that as you go into the next year, because that's important. We begin to overspend because we start getting comfortable with the amount of money that we're making, right? You ever, had that full-time job and every time they give you a bonus, you never really saw it? Well, that's why, because you become so comfortable in the amount of money that you're making. So if you have someone to say to you, listen, I have it all laid out right here, because it'll all be on the financials. And we can look and see, this is how much you spend in marketing. First of all, I don't think that you spent enough there, right? However, you did spend X amount of money on traveling, and we need to cut that back a little bit. Can we take away 3% from traveling and add that to your marketing? Okay. And just things like that, and we could just take a quick look. It doesn't take all day. It doesn't take long. It just takes us looking at the report, tweaking it a little bit. And then mentally you'll have in your mind, you know what? Okay. Yeah, I got to chill out with that. I can't really do too much of that. So consciously now you're making better money decisions. So that's why you need a bookkeeper.
Yeah, I like it. If I didn't have one after that speech, I would surely get me.
Exactly. So,
hallelujah.
Cassie, what question did you have?
I have, what is the best accounting software to use?
I'm going to say that I'm extremely biased because I've been using QuickBooks since the year 2000.
There you go. That's a popular one. QuickBooks is a popular
it's extremely popular. Aside from them trying to be a monopoly in all of this, like Amazon, is trying to do with brick and mortar. Aside from that, I'm biased. I've been using it for 21 years. Well, why would I say something else?
Absolutely.
I love QuickBooks too. Okay. E, did you have a question?
Yep. Hi, Toki.
Hi, how are you?
My first time seeing you for real. I've never seen you before. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen you. No. So my question is, why is it important to have a business account?
It's extremely important to have separate accounts altogether. And I'll say this: well, you guys are not really in the field where you have to pay sales tax or you have to pay payroll, but those are other accounts that I suggest that some business owners have. But it's important for you to have a business account so that you can keep your personal expenses and your business expenses separate. It makes it easier, it makes it clear to see. Also, in the case where if you have your entity structure as an LLC, that's extremely important because you don't want to pierce the veil of your corporation, as they say, so that if someone comes along and they want to sue you, your personal assets will be intact and they'll only be able to touch what's in your business. So it's extremely important for you to keep these things separate and do it now as a sole proprietor, right? So again, you'll have all of these things separate. It's easy to maintain and easy to look at, and it's easy for you to actually see what you're spending personally. Because here's what happens when we're sole proprietors, because these things flow into one another, right? So what happens is I get this all the time. I'm making all this money, but why don't I have any money? Well, you're spending too much. And it's not so much that they're spending so much in their business, because we don't have that kind of overhead as service providers. We just don't. But when you're spending all this money because it's flowing from your business straight into your personal, or you're just swiping, and spending, you can't tell the difference because it's all coming into one pot. But if you begin to separate it, you begin to see, this is how much I made in my business, and this is how much my business expenses are. And then this is exactly what I paid myself, which means what you moved over into your personal account so that you can spend it as you see fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more clear way to deal with having a business.
I have an additional question, if I might.
Yeah,
just
sure.
to clear something out, because when you mentioned, okay, go ahead.
Before I forget, we call that co-mingling fund.
Yeah.
That's something that I always preach to my clients, and some of them get frustrated because I tell them, I understand you don't have a corporation, but you still have a business, regardless of if you're an LLC or if you're just the sole proprietor. It doesn't matter. You still need to keep those accounts separated, or you are co-mingling funds. And if an audit ever arises, you gave the IRS permission to now not only look into your business,
but your personal.
Now you didn't gave them access to all your personal stuff.
You sure did. You sure did.
I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there before I forget.
Yeah, you sure did. You're right about it.
So my question was, and this is just to clear it up for people who have LLC partnerships, would you suggest both partners have a separate business account, or would you suggest that they have one business account together for the business? How would you?
As a bookkeeper, I'll say this. Now, your tax professional may say something different. But as a bookkeeper, I'll say this. That would depend solely on how you want to see it. Right. So if you have a 50-50 partnership, first of all, you're going to get 50, he's going to get, or she's going to get 50. And, you can totally keep that separate. Or, if you want everything in the business coming into one business account and then you split everything out, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. But when you're splitting everything out, again, it's going to be up to you to split it out into your business account or your personal account. So you'll have the main business account where both partners or all partners, all of the income is being generated into this top line business account. But then when it comes time to distribute the funds according to the percentage as your business is structured, then that's when the money's going to go out. And then it's going to be up to Casey to say that money should go directly to my business account, so I know exactly how much money I made. And then from my business account, I will pay me into my personal account. And that's how I know exactly what has happened on the side of not only the main business, but also from my part of the business. So for me as a bookkeeper, that's what I would recommend, but your tax professional may tell you something different.
Nice. Josie, we were having a discussion a little while ago. You want to share what we were talking about?
I'm sorry?
You give her that question, what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. So I always have a lot of clients, because I do a lot of audits, that say, well, why do I need a bookkeeper? I mean, if I have a bookkeeper, why do I need to I have all these receipts? Why do I need to talk to my bookkeeper all the time about what, shouldn't she already know, he already know what the accounting is and, where it goes in QuickBooks or whatever. So I wanted to explain to people why it's so important that they communicate with their bookkeeper. And they'll tell me all the time, oh, well, my bookkeeper didn't have those receipts. I don't have those receipts, So if you just explain that a little bit, why it's so important.
Well, I'll say this. In terms of receipts, there are a few things here, right? So one thing is if the business is structured in the way that the receipts are only needed when it is the owner making contribution to the business or paying the business from a personal bank, the the receipts are needed. But if you have the receipts are needed for the bookkeeper. I'm sorry, let me make that clear. But if you have a business that a construction business, your bookkeeper doesn't necessarily need your receipts. Your receipts just need to be filed orderly. They just need to be organized, because I don't need to see every receipt that my construction company pulls, brings in. I just need to make sure that what I see going in and out of the bank is accurate. So if I see, if I let me rephrase that, because I do need to see the receipt. I don't need to keep the receipt, right? So is that what they're asking you?
Right.
Like they're saying my bookkeeper has the receipt, or shouldn't they know? Or
Yes.
help me understand what
Yeah,
that.
that's what they're asking. Like, do my bookkeeper has the receipts, or do I have to give the receipts to my bookkeeper all the time? Things of that nature.
So all right,
They really want to know what their responsibilities are once I hire a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
okay. So the main responsibility is,
There you
one,
go.
either giving your bookkeeper access to your accounts, right, as view only, to where they can pull the statements, or you would have to have the responsibility of submitting those statements monthly. And if you have 10, 12 different statements, that's on you. It's going to take some time, right? But if you give them the access to something like HubDoc, or something else that will pull your statements in, then that's something that they don't have to worry about, except for one, if a password changes or something like that, then we have to bother them to link this back up. Now, in terms of receipts, here's the one thing that I always tell people to do. Buy a 12 folder, the 12 part accordion folder. You can buy those accordion folders. Every month, stick your receipts in those things. When a bookkeeper needs to see those items, they'll ask for just that accordion. And it's fine. Everything is there. Anything you purchased in January is there. Anything you purchased in February is there. All these receipts are kept organized, and it's not necessary for your bookkeeper to see them all the time. Now, if I go and I start doing spot check audits, and I'm saying, well, here is a $4,800 charge. They don't usually spend that kind of money, especially not with this vendor. That's just going to be a question that I have for the owner, not necessarily me needing to see a receipt. I'm not their parent. I don't, that's not what that's about. And times have changed considerably from back in the day when we needed all of these paper receipts. We don't need them like that anymore. Right? So what I will do is, at the end of every month, I have what I call unclassified items, where it's either questionable to me, where I see all of a sudden, where if Erica usually goes to Mobile on Third and Martin Luther King or wherever, but now all of a sudden I'm starting to see her get gas from all over Atlanta. I'm like, hold on, something ain't right here. Somebody may have access to her card. So I'm going to say, Erica, what is all of this? And oh, no, girl, I'm showing these houses over here and over there. That's me. So that's good. So that's how I keep track of that. And then again, at the end of every month, I have these unclassified items where I'll send the report. I'll send the report to Melinda, and I'll say, Melinda, here are all the things that I have questions about. One, you'll see in the notes, it said, was this fraud? And because we have time to file that report. We want to make sure it's within 120 days, because even Chase after that is not trying to hear from you, right? So I'll say, what was this fraud? Was this you? This income here, where did this come from? Any of those kinds of questions. Every single month you will receive that report where it's saying, I don't understand what this is. What is this expense? Why are you constantly spending money as so-and-so if this has nothing to do with you selling houses? And then you say to me, you know what? Well, it does have something to do with it, because now they do X, Y, and Z service. And I go, oh, okay, that's fine. Or you say to me, you know what? That doesn't make sense. I made a mistake and I used my business account instead of my personal account. So every month, Josie, here's my answer to you. Do I need every single receipt? I do not. It is the responsibility of the client to keep these things organized. And again, as simple as throwing them inside of a 12-part accordion folder, all your January receipts, or every time you come in, just dump the receipts inside. And let's keep it real, right? As a service professional, how many receipts do we receive? We don't. We do enough swiping. Everything is on our credit card. Everything is on our credit card. But then, like Josie, she has all these clients that they get receipts from these different vendors, and that's fine. Have your vendors send you electronic invoices and receipts. Why are you taking paper receipts? Have your vendor structured to the way that works for you. Come on, you're paying them for a service, so you say, listen, you want to get paid, just send it to me via whatever app you guys are using, whether it's QuickBooks or whatever they're using. Send the invoice to me this way, or during the way that they send you the electronic invoice. That's the way you're probably going to pay them anyway, right? Yeah. You're going to hit the invoice and pay them by credit card or pay them by ACH. What is all this paper stuff about now? And we're in 2021. We don't do this kind of stuff anymore.
And so the IRS, they've kind of gotten a little bit more strict. Like, they don't just want to see that receipt anymore. They want to see the credit card statement. They want to see proof of how you paid for that expense.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, if we have the credit card statements, most times we don't even have a receipt. Most times, right? But if we have that receipt, it's just as simple as, here's my January pocket, here's my February pocket, here's my March pocket. Just put them in the 12 folder accordion, the 12-part accordion. Label it year 2021. Once it's done, you put it aside. You buy a new 12-part accordion. It's not that deep.
Right.
Toki,
does that help you?
How do you feel about the receipt scan feature in QuickBooks? Because they can scan the receipt.
I don't, and I'll tell you why. I don't feel any kind of way about it. One, Erica, as you know, I pride myself on having my clients do the least amount of work. So this is the reason why I don't even listen. They can use it all they want to, but I'm not recommending it, right? You can mail me your receipts once a month. You can send it through FedEx. It's a fee that I take care of. I don't want my clients doing anything. If you're paying me for a service, and this is just me, a lot of people love that feature. But am I really going to expect you, Erica, to scan receipts into that thing?
Nope, they're not going to do it.
I do it. I mean, it's me, though, but it's me.
Clients is not going to do it. They're going to put it off. They're
not. And you know what's going to happen? Your stress level is going to go up to here because they didn't scan some damn receipts.
Yep.
Because the thing is, when I have people, and I'm glad we're together now, but before we were together, they would never put it like in a folder the way they were supposed to. And they bring it in like a Kroger bag. And what happens is, depending on the paper, the ink rubs off and you can't really know it. So then it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Nothing.
I always get a shoebox.
Nothing.
You got a Kroger bag? I always get a shoebox.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I had someone from your state mail me this huge box of all of this stuff. And you know where it's at? In my office underneath a credenza somewhere. Because guess what? What is all of this? I have no idea what all of this stuff is. But you know what? I take it. They feel safe with me having it. And that's that. If an audit should come up, I have staff that is able to go through these receipts. And again, they're going to do just what I told you to do. They're going to put them month by month. So anytime the auditor asks a question, I'm just going to go to that particular month, and that's where we're going to pull it from.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not looking at that. For what?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm just keeping it real. For what? What am I?
I have one more question that popped up. When keeping receipts, what is the time frame on keeping them? Do you need to keep them indefinitely? Is it 3 years? Is it 10 year? How long?
I think it's still 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's still the same time frame.
Yeah.
And
To
I
tell
want
you about
I
the
want
return.
to advise realtors not only to keep track of the receipts that Toki is mentioning, the way she's telling you to do the easy, simple way to do it, but you have a lot of different listings. And if you're in Sam's or Costco or whatever, and you're making a lot of different purchases for different listings, your different houses, you need to write on the back or stick a sticky note or something on explaining what address that is for. That's
Yeah.
a problem that I run into a lot. They put out the receipts in January through December, but they don't know what listing that was for. If you
Sure.
audit it, go ahead,
Sure.
Toki.
No, but sure. So, but it's the same system though. So how about this? So if you have the January through December, you can also, because I mean nobody's telling you how to label these folders, right? You label them by address.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and even if you are in a rush like we all are, life is just happening every day, all day. Even if you just put, if the address is 1562 Sherwood Drive Lane Southwest, you just want to put 1562 Sherwood, throw that right in 1562 Sherwood, right?
Mhm.
So
That's
every
good.
time, and here's the thing, every time that you have these expenses, I'm gonna say to you, what property is this for? What
Yeah.
address is this for? Your reports are going to show you that, because I have a bookkeeping system where we set this up where if you have all of these different properties that you're working with, every single time you have a new listing, you tell me what that is. We set that up. I have the expenses for that. I'm not asking you to get a separate business account for every property.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I am going to ask you at the end of every month, what was this for? But guess what? It's within a 30-day time frame, so you should remember, right? I'm not going to ask you 60 days from now, 90 days from now. If you take that long to answer me, that's on you, right?
Yeah.
But your responsibility to me to help you is that you answer these things, in a timely fashion, and then we just get it done. And then when you say to me, Toki, that's Sherwood property, can you send me the reports for that? I certainly can.
Yeah.
I certainly can. Just for that, I can tell you what it costs, what your commission is going to be, how much you put out, and what your profit was, just like that.
I love it.
I love it.
The organization of it is beautiful.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Nat, do you see any questions in the chat? I didn't see any.
I don't see any either.
Okay. Well, I guess we can get to wrapping it up. We are at the top of the hour. Toki, anything you want to share? Any information you want to close out with?
Well, I mean, I think I've said it several times. Like, it's necessary. It is so important to have a bookkeeper. We are totally different from the accountants, but the accountants cannot exist without us.
Yeah.
We can exist without an accountant, but the accountant can't exist without us. We give them the information that builds your tax return. You want to be prepared. You want to be financial. You want to have financial peace of mind, and you want to, always be in the mindset of knowing how much money you have. What is your bottom line? You cannot operate in the business if you do not know your bottom line. You just can't. You can pretend that you can, but in reality, you can't.
I agree. I love it.
Do you have like social media, Instagram, Facebook, where people can follow you or anything like
Oh,
that?
my personal Facebook page is public. And that's how you spell my name. I'm also on LinkedIn, and then my Facebook business page is handle my books,
We love
and that's at Books and Budgets.
You want to close us out, Nat?
Yes, I certainly do. So again, the Real Estate Tax Advisory Group, you can follow us, or you can visit our website page at www.myretag.com. And we are also on IG, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We love you all.
Thank you for
Thank you
watching.
so much, Toki,
Thank
for
you.
joining us and for that all that amazing information.
Yes.
I got some clients coming your way right now because I told them this my last shit dealing with y'all shit. Y'all
Well, you know I'm here. I'm
You're
here
gonna
for
be
you
worked.
guys, and I'm here however I can help. I'm certainly here. Erica knows I don't. I don't play games. I'm on it. It's you tell me you need it. I got you.
Awesome.
Love it.
All right.
And something that I forgot to mention, we will not be on next week. We'll be in preparation to celebrate our sister Josie. She is having her vow renewal in Destin, Florida. So we'll be preparing to go and celebrate with her next week. So we're gonna miss you all next week, but we'll be back on the second week in November. All right, talk to you guys.
Hey, guys.
Take care.